Alright guys, it's Charlie Tango 1994 back with another YouTube video. I've got a nice little dual mode rig to have a look at today, and I've had a few comments over the last couple of months on the YouTube channel that, and it is true, that the majority of the rigs that I review tend to be 80s models, so the old 2781. But to be fair, I've probably done maybe 5 or 6 dual mode ones. And the reason for that, really, it wasn't anything deliberate. Just I do have a general interest for the older rigs, and they tend to be a lot cheaper. So when I first started buying rigs to review, it was just easier on the pocket to buy the cheaper ones and review them. But as the years have gone on, there's a bit more money in rotation now, in terms of buying and selling rigs. So I am able to splash out a little bit more, and to be fair, I didn't pay a huge amount for this. I think I picked it up for about 25 quid, and the reason for that was that it didn't have a microphone or a power lead when I bought it, so I've had to shell out for a new microphone, and I had a spare power lead knocking around somewhere, so I've managed to get it all set up, and I've done some tests on it today and it's all working fine. The other thing to say about it is that it's a Moonraker model, and we've looked at a couple of the other Moonraker models that are out there. We've done both an early and a later version Moonraker Minor, and I did last year at some point the Moonraker Major, which I think actually might be a dual mode radio. I can't remember. So this is, you know, a more up-to-date CB radio. This is similar to the more modern rigs that you would buy nowadays, and it works on both the UK 40 and the European channels. So in essence is an 80 channel rig, and it's got a number of the features that normally you would only generally get on the more up-to-date CBs. Things like dual watch, scan mode, all of that. You didn't really get those. I can't think of an example where you had those options on sort of the early 80s rigs. So again, these are features that you would only see in the more up-to-date CB radio, shall we say. Plus it's got some other nice little design features, which I actually quite like this little rig. I haven't had a lot of time to play about with it, but I've had it switched on this morning, done some basic tests just to make sure it transmits and receives, which it does fine. So happy that it all works. So I'm going to show you one or two things about it. First thing to say, as you can see, it's on channel 9. As with quite a lot of rigs that do kind of automatically change channel, when you first power it on, it automatically switches to channel 9. It is a deliberate kind of design feature, based on the fact that in the days when channel 9 was monitored, just that if you were ever in a tight spot and flicked your radio on to call for help, the idea is that you don't have to fumble around getting to the right channel. It's there ready to use, and quite a few of the rigs that we've looked at over the years have got that as a feature, but it automatically switches on to channel 9. And it also doesn't have a transmit light, so you'll notice the backlighting around the dials. When you key up, that turns to orange, which actually I was quite, you know, that's a really nice little design feature. So that's an extra point in favour of it. And then in terms of the features, you've got a key lock button. So as I say, there's quite a lot of things you can change by pressing the different keys. So you can lock everything down. You've got your automatic channel 19 selector, and then the scan button. One of the things I noticed with that as well, if I set it to scan, sorry, I've just got to cover the screen for a sec. We should, he said, start seeing it scanning. There you go. What I found is when you adjust the squelch, I don't know if you notice at the moment it's kind of plodding through the channels, but if I turn the squelch up, the speed of the scan increases. So at maximum squelch, it's actually flying through the channels, and then when I turn it down again, it gradually slows down, which I've not seen on other rigs before. So I'm just adjusting the speed. But when it's turned way down, you can see it kind of sits on each channel for a couple of seconds, and then it moves on. So yeah, as a scan feature, they've really thought about that. Also to say about the dials, twin pot for both, so you've got volume on the front, squelch on the collar, on the top one, and then you've got both mic gain and RF gain. So again, the mic gain is on the front pot, and then the RF gain is on the rear pot, so, or on the collar. So again, really well thought out in terms of design. As I say, I had to go out and get a brand new mic for this, and it isn't a standard 4-pin, which is what we quite often see, and it's a 6-pin, this one. So in the end, it cost me probably as much for the mic as it did for the rig itself. Not a major deal. I mean, without the microphone, it's not usable. So yeah, I had to shell out nearly 20 quid for it. What else have we got on it? So there's a dual watch button. So if you're not aware, you can monitor 2 channels at the same time. You've got UK and EU frequencies. So at the moment, with the U displayed on the screen, if you press and hold the selector, switches now to the European channels. I'll just switch it back again in case I want to use it later on. So you kind of have to hold it for sort of 4 or 5 seconds. Then you've got modulation and RF. So when I key up, that's set to just RF, so you see that's static. But if I switch it to RF, I don't know why this is a useful feature. Sorry, if I switch it to modulate, if I 1 2 1 2 1 2, you see that the signal transmit wavers based on obviously the modulation of my voice, whereas on the other setting, it just stays static. So if I show you 1 2 1 2 1 2, so again, just kind of draws me back to the point that this little rig, when they sit down and actually design a usable radio in the factories or whatever, they've had a good think about what they're trying to achieve. And then 2 other buttons left on it. You've got a noise blanker, so again, that's going to kind of tidy up your receive a little bit in terms of background fuzz or whatever else. Just makes your incoming signal clearer, easier to listen to. And then a feature that I haven't often seen, but there's a frequency button. So instead of showing you the channel number, it shows you the actual frequency itself. And just looking at that now, look, it does look like you can kind of skip around, you know, get to the, I can't remember what you call it, K shift, but you can get to specific frequencies, which is probably quite a nice feature. I need to spend a bit more time with this rig. I think there's some other stuff going on with it that we don't get on standard rigs. And then obviously you've got your channel selector you've seen me use. So I have to say, I think that is a really nice little rig in terms of size and weight as well. None of the sort of newer rigs that we look at are chunky. So as a mobile rig, and again, if I might actually at some point take this out mobile, I'm planning to do a trip later this week actually, so I might bung this in the bag instead of the old Colt 295, just to see how it gets on really. So we'll see about that, but I certainly am impressed by it. The Moonraker FA5000. Don't really know what I'm going to ask for it. As I say, I've had to shell out not only the money for the rig itself, 20 odd quid, but there's probably 40 odd quid's worth of investment in it. I don't think I'm going to get anything like that sort of money Hopefully I will, but you know, you never know. So with a brand new power cable and a brand new mic, it's worth doing it. I haven't really had any signals in. As I say, I've only really turned it on for the first time this morning, so I'll probably leave it running over the weekend, see what I can get in. But this is the Moonraker FA5000, and I'll be back to you with another YouTube video soon. Cheers guys. Hope you enjoyed watching this video, and as a thank you to you, particularly if you're new to CB Radio or returning to it after many years, I've put together a free information series called The Beginner's Guide to CB Radio, which I'm sharing with all of my subscribers. To find out more, click the link in the top right corner now. And new for 2018 is my CB Radio playlists.